August the 15th, 2021. As you're looking at information from the National Hurricane Center from this morning, notice Fred is in the Gulf and it has become a tropical storm again. It has sustained winds of 35 knots or 40 miles an hour. Central pressure is 1,008 millibars. It's moving north by northwest at 10 knots or 12 miles an hour. Grace, not far behind it, 40 mile per hour storm. Its central pressure is a little higher than Fred's. It's at 1010 millibars. It is moving west-northwest at 14 knots or 16 miles per hour. Now, we still have this disturbance. Again, I don't think much is going to happen with it, but we will keep an eye on it. But let's look at the current satellite images. Now, Fred looks a lot more organized than we've seen it in the last few days. It's trying to wrap itself in thunderstorms now. You can see the center of circulation right there. Now, it, again, west-northwest, but notice it's pretty much of a west movement now, and this thing is supposed to loop down just a little bit further west before it makes its turn. It doesn't look like on the models that it's going to go straight from this position inland. We'll take a look at those models. But again, it is an impressive tropical storm, not a hurricane, but it's going to give you some problems. I keep mentioning tornadoes, and that's going to be one of them. Now, switching to the Caribbean satellite, you can see Grace right here. It is past the Windward-Leeward Islands, and we're going to look at the charts on it as far as the tracking because it is changing slightly, but the storm looks very well organized. The Windward-Leeward Islands didn't do no damage to this, but let's look at the tracking. Now, this is current information, 11 a.m. advisory. Fred is at 40 miles an hour now. It's going to increase in strength by 8 p.m. this evening to 45 miles an hour by 8 p.m. in the morning to 50 miles an hour and come ashore at 50. So there could be some strengthening between these 2 points right there. But this is pretty much dead on the Pensacola area. And to the right of this, into Panama City and places like that, is where you're going to get the strongest winds, that northeast quadrant of the storm. And as this thing pulls inland, guys, watch this. Watch for the tornadoes. I can't emphasize that enough. Now, this is a combination of the different spaghetti models, and most of them are right in the center of that cone, but some do veer left or west, and some veer east. These storms have a tendency, when they get very close to shore, to pull just a little harder to the right or to the east in this situation. Now, they're showing this particular path, and notice that it comes across the Dominican Republic and Haiti, and which now I think there's over 300 deaths so far, and they're still kind of going through some rubble, guys. A lot of people hurt. Then it skims now almost the exact same path as Fred did, and comes ashore on the north side of Cuba, skims it, pops back out pretty close to the same place that Fred did, and moves into the open Gulf. Notice here, this would be Thursday around 8 p.m. We got a 65 mile per hour storm just about due south of the Mississippi River, the mouth of the Mississippi River here. But again, the storm is here, and as it gets over the Haiti area, then it's predicted to downgrade to a tropical depression simply because of the mountains there. But we'll keep an eye on the exact track. That's going to be important. 40 miles an hour, again, west-northwest at 16 miles an hour, 1010 millibars pressure. Let me remind you, the tracks have changed about twice each day since Grace became a tropical storm. And you see some models moving over the Dominican Republic and then dipping back across South Florida into the Gulf of Mexico itself, and some going further south. A few bring it along the southern edge of Cuba right there and then back into open water. We're going to have to pay attention to this one very closely. I got a feeling we're going to have at least a Cat 1 hurricane out of this. Now, the Navy model has changed probably as much as we've seen it change this year. And what they're showing here is this is Fred coming in, and right there is Grace coming into Mexico. That would be a break for the U.S. and Mexico. You could use some rain out of this thing. But again, it's been changing about twice a day. Let's look at the Canadian model. This model has also changed, and it has a more southerly track. Here's Fred going into Florida here. Grace is coming in instead of Mexico, going into South Texas. Again, this is going to change. Notice there are two more low pressure systems that have moved off of Africa by this time. Here, right there, and one following. We don't know what they're going to do yet, but it's that time of the season, and it's ramping up to September the 10th is the peak. Then a gradual decline all the way through the end of November. But guys, this is kind of good news. Fred is maintaining what they said it would do, but the larger storm may miss the southern Gulf states, if you know what I'm saying. We're getting a lot of rain. Florida, you've been getting a lot of rain the last few days because of where Fred is setting and throwing all that weather your way. But guys, I just wanted to update this. We're going to watch Fred very closely through the afternoon, see what it's going to do. We'll pay attention to Grace also. But again, right now, my friends in the Florida Panhandle, pay attention to what Fred is going to do. Again, watch your low-lying areas for flash flooding. Make sure your boats are tied up or moved inland somewhat. We're watching it, guys. You watch it. It's a heads up. Be safe.